y'all have to excuse me, I've got Parkinson's and my speech is kind of bad, but I'll do the best I can. I welcome y'all here to McIntosh, if there's anything we can do and if any way we can, may have to do so. We're looking at this bigger crowd and I appreciate the interest that's shown to the group that's here. Let me give you a little rundown on McIntosh, because a lot of you don't know where you're at. The first Kansas seat in Alabama was in McIntosh, Alabama. The first Kansas City, Washington County. Washington County covers from the Pearl River in Mississippi to the Chattahoochee River in Florida. We have a lot of, this picture on the wall is a picture of Chief McIntosh, and it's mounted in the Fifth and Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. It is an authentic picture. We have a lot of firsts in Alabama. We have the first air of electricity down this side of the road. We have the first sugar plant. Splendor was the only sugar plant in the United States, or in the world at one time. They moved to Hong Kong or somewhere. They're leaving and mothballing the plant. Let me tell you a little story about Mr. Walken. He's one that found to help us get Olin here. Olin was one of the first plants to come in here. Another plant followed Olin to use their products. They've been a good neighbor for 50-some years. Geiger's been a good neighbor for that long. They're the one that started helping us get started in the town. The other plants that moved in have been great. We have a good relations with everybody, and we appreciate the help they give us. The people from Mobile, from Washington County, was formed to send the judges from Mobile up here. Mr. Raines, who named this piece of land that was granted to him down here on the river. The school in Mobile, B.C. Raines, was named after him. I know the people who have come up on the bus are familiar with B.C. Raines School. I'll hush because I talk about it all day. And I appreciate y'all coming. And I live across the street here. I was born in a house with a picket fence you can see across the road. And I live about 300 yards down the road. I've been here 80 years, so I know what's been going on in McIntosh. I worked in Mobile for 40 years as business agent for the union down there, past school to Pensacola. And made my living in Mobile. And I appreciate the help I got out of people in Mobile. And I met a lot of people here in Bishop State. I know we helped when Bishop State was formed. We helped a lot with the union to help Bishop State. And appreciate them coming up. Let me hush and let you go. But I welcome all of you here, and if there's anything we can do to help in the way you should call on it.
Thank you. One quick question. How long have you been mayor?
40 years.
That's unbelievable.
I'm the best mayor they ever had. I'm the only one.
That's great. I have the good fortune of actually, I think, having a wonderful job, and I'm going to explain to you just a little bit briefly about that, in that I absolutely have the responsibility of developing Washington County. And I do that in partnership with the Mobile Chamber because some folks several years ago, many of you in the room, had the foresight to form that partnership. And that's actually much of what today is going to be about, is building on that and growing those partnerships. I want to introduce to you at this time the chairman of the Washington County Economic Development Initiative and the mayor of Chatham, Harold Trout.
Thank you. Thank Mayor Daugherty for all of his leadership qualities and a lot of questions. I've only been mayor for 13 years, and there's several times that I call Mayor Daugherty, and he's always been very honest and frank with it, and everything he's told me, if I'm smart enough to listen to it, it guides me a long ways. The initiative here was formed about 7 years ago. Myself, SEBA, for the town of Chatham, SEBA, and First Community Bank, we had some meetings, and we had to figure out some way that we could start economic development in Washington County. And we had to come up with the money to do it. So we, as a group, got in with Mayor Doherty and Olin and Tate and Lyle and all of the industries. Alabama Power was very instrumental in helping us with our 5-year plan. So we're a group that actually pays dues into the organization, and we do that once a year. And the biggest expense that we have out of our dues is Jesse. We finance his position, and we work through the Mobile Chamber. And we did that, just to give you a little history, we allowed the Mobile Chamber to do the hiring of our economic developer for the sole purpose of taking politics out of that process. We did not want to hurt someone's feelings because their cousin was wanting a job and their cousin was on the board and that. So we took that out, and we all agreed that we would not become involved in that. And I've got to tell, before Jesse came here, about 2 years ago now, how long have you been here?
18 months.
18, okay. Before Jesse came, we were really worried that this was going to fall by the wayside. The 2 previous people that we had just did not seem to have the energy and the desire to be in Washington County like it's supposed to. And Jesse is the reason, a main part, that we're still here. We're still vested because we can see through Jesse's efforts the things that are changing. G1 Mechanical, Jesse was just great in getting that here and working with us. He's great with working the county commission. They feel very comfortable with Jesse, I believe, and he's very good to work with all of them. And his job and the sole purpose of this initiative is to bring better quality of life to Washington County. And if in any way, any business that is here, or the education, Bishop State, I'm also the career tech director, and I'll talk to you all about that later. But Bishop State is really coming on strong, trying to help with a lot of the education process and that here. Our banks, industry and everything is very involved, and the only way we can be successful is all of this group coming together, working for one goal. We cannot splinter off, we can't separate, we can't go in other directions. We have to remain very, very focused because our resources and our money is very limited. And I just want to thank all of you for being here. I wanted to give you a little bit of the history that we've been through, and I really want to thank Jesse for putting this together. Appreciate all that you do, Jesse.
Thanks. Once again, it would be okay, I think, to say we do appreciate you guys being here. Told the group coming up on the bus that there's 100 different things that you all could be doing and maybe even should be doing today, but you've taken the time out of your day to be here. I really appreciate it. And we'll get right into the presentations in just a second, but I wanted to share with you why I feel strongly about having you guys gathered together today. When I took the job 18 months ago, I can distinctly remember having an interview that day down at the Mobile Chamber. So I had to go to Mobile, and I had done my homework. You know, with the internet and technology the way it is today, you can find out a lot about anybody real quick. You know, we all know that. That works both good and bad sometimes. I did that. I spent a lot of time doing research and looking on the internet, trying to figure out what was Washington County all about. My path down that day was to come through Chapel and then over to 43 and on down to Mobile. Stopped a couple of times in McIntosh to have lunch and Subway, by the way. I ate at Subway that day. And that experience was went really well. And we laugh about those things sometimes, but those are the people that absolutely make or break your community in rural communities. I believe strongly that that's absolutely the case. Those are the frontline people, the people at the quick stops and the Subway.